Control your brat or I'll drag you both off this plane myself. Karen Ellis snarled, her palm cracking against Aisha Johnson's cheek with a force that silenced the first-class cabin for a split second. The sting burned like fire across Aisha's skin, but she didn't flinch, cradling her 6-month-old daughter tighter as the baby's wails pierced the air sharper than before. Karen, the flight attendant with her starched uniform and pinned-back hair, loomed over them, eyes narrowed in contempt. People like you think you can sneak into first class and ruin it for everyone paying real money. That kid screaming is a hazard. Federal regulations say so. Passengers shifted in their leather seats, phones already out, capturing the scene. A gray-haired businessman in a tailored suit muttered approval. About time someone enforced standards. These types always push boundaries. Aisha's jaw clenched, teeth grinding as the humiliation sank in, her simple blouse and skirt marking her as the maid she was, flying on a rare upgrade ticket from her employer. Karen didn't stop, yanking the radio from her belt. "Captain, we've got a disruptive passenger in 2A, a black woman with an infant refusing to comply. Recommend immediate removal." The baby's cries escalated, tiny fists waving, but Aisha's dark eyes locked on Karen's, steady despite the red welt blooming on her face. Whispers rippled through the cabin. "She's got nerve staying quiet," from a woman clutching pearls. "Probably knows she's wrong." Karen leaned closer, breath hot. "Honey, I see through your act. Upgrading with some scam? Not on my watch?" The assault hung heavy, unchallenged yet, as security lights flashed outside the windows, the plane still grounded in New York, bound for Los Angeles. Aisha's hand trembled slightly on her daughter's back, but her spine stayed rigid, refusing to break under the weight of stares and judgments. Aisha's cheek throbbed with heat, the slap's echo still ringing in her ears. But she locked her gaze on Karen, unblinking, her arms wrapping protectively around her daughter like iron bands. The baby's sobs softened against her chest, tiny body heaving in rhythm with Aisha's steady breaths. "You done?" Aisha whispered, voice low and even, cutting through the cabin's murmurs like a blade. Karen recoiled a fraction, expecting screams or pleas, but Aisha's silence hit harder, a wall of dignity that made the attendant's triumph falter. Passengers leaned in, phones steady, one whispering, "She's not even fighting back. Makes her look guilty." But Aisha's fingers dug into the blanket, knuckles whitening, refusing to let rage spill out. Instead, she rocked the infant gently, humming a faint lullaby under her breath, the melody clashing with the rising tension. Karen barked, "Don't play victim now. Gather your things and deplane, or security hauls you out in cuffs." Aisha ignored her, slipping a hand into her pocket, pulling out her phone with deliberate slowness. The screen lit up her face, casting shadows that hid the storm in her eyes. She dialed Elijah, thumb pressing hard enough to ache, and held the device to her ear. "Honey," she murmured as it connected, voice barely audible over the intercom crackle. "Trouble on the flight. Attendant just hit me." Karen snatched at the phone, but Aisha twisted away, shielding it. "Who are you calling? Your boss won't save you from aviation law." The call crackled, Elijah's voice faint on the line. "Aisha, what happened? I'm handling it." But static cut in, the signal dropping as the plane's systems interfered, leaving Aisha's words hanging. Her teeth clamped down, suppressing a wince, but she straightened taller, her composure a weapon that unnerved the watching crowd. Whispers grew. "Why's she so calm? Something's off." Aisha's heart pounded, yet her face remained a mask, turning the assault into her quiet stand. Karen's smirk faded as Aisha tucked the phone away, her fingers brushing against a slim card in her pocket that slipped partially into view. A platinum-edged badge with an embossed eagle and Skyline Executive, etched in gold, unlike any standard frequent flyer pass. The businessman across the aisle, Marcus Hale, a black entrepreneur in his 50s, with salt and pepper hair and a sharp suit, caught the glint under the cabin lights, his brow furrowing as doubt cracked his earlier nod of approval. "That card doesn't look fake," he muttered to himself, thumb hovering over his phone's record button, the video already capturing Karen's looming stance and Aisha's unyielding poise. Karen snatched at the air again, voice rising. What's that in your hand? Some forged upgrade? Hand it over. But Aisha slid it back into her pocket with a smooth motion, her nails digging into the fabric, pulse racing beneath her calm exterior. Marcus's chest tightened, regret coiling like a fist. Had he just cheered on the wrong side? He zoomed in on his footage, the live stream ticking up viewers, comments flashing. Wait, that badge looks legit. Plot twist incoming. Karen radioed louder. Security, expedite, passenger concealing items. The cabin hummed with unease. Passengers exchanging glances. One elderly white woman clutching her armrest, whispering, "She didn't even cry after the slap. Too composed for trouble." Aisha's eyes flicked to Marcus for a split second, a silent acknowledgement that planted the seed of alliance. Her jaw set firm as the first pangs of collective doubt rippled outward. Outside, sirens wailed faintly, pulling the plane toward chaos. But that hidden card lingered in Marcus's mind like a ticking bomb. Damn it, I bought into that crap. Cheered her on like a fool. Marcus Hale growled into his phone screen, replaying the video of Karen's slap over and over in his New York hotel room, the red mark on Aisha's cheek glaring back at him like an accusation. His fists clenched, knuckles cracking, as regret twisted his gut sharper than any boardroom loss. He slammed the device down, pacing the carpet, sweat beading on his forehead, despite the air conditioning's hum. That card wasn't fake, executive level, no doubt, and I stood by while they humiliated her. Marcus grabbed his laptop, fingers flying across keys, searching social media for the viral clip that had exploded to thousands of views. Comments flooded in. Racist attendant exposed, mixed with, she deserved it for the crying kid. His jaw tightened, teeth grinding, as he tracked Aisha's face through reverse image searches, landing on a local New York community page where she volunteered at a shelter for working mothers. There, her name, Aisha Johnson, Maid for upscale families. He dialed the shelter's number, voice steady but edged with urgency. This is Marcus Hale. I witnessed an assault on a flight today. Need to reach Aisha Johnson. It's about justice. The receptionist hesitated. Sir, she's private. But after that video, hold on. Minutes dragged, Marcus's pulse hammering, until Aisha's voice cut through. Who is this? If you're media, hang up. Marcus leaned forward, breath sharp. The guy from the plane, the one who saw your card. I was wrong, dead wrong. Let me help sue that airline. I've got lawyers, resources. Silence stretched, Aisha's end crackling with tension. Why now? You nodded along back there. Marcus's face burned, fist balling. Guilt's eating me alive. I face the same bias in boardrooms. We team up, expose them. Aisha's sigh was heavy, guarded. Not over the phone. Meet tomorrow. My turf. Marcus agreed, hanging up with a surge of purpose. But doubt nagged as he booked a car to her neighborhood, the viral storm raging online, pulling more allies into the fray. His search deepened, digging into Skyline Airways complaint logs leaked on forums, uncovering patterns of discrimination that mirrored his own past scars. This isn't just one slap, it's a system. He messaged whistleblowers, piecing together names of other victims, his determination hardening like steel, ready to confront the woman he'd wronged. Get out of my face. You think one meeting fixes what you ignored on that plane? Aisha snapped at the shelter volunteer who handed her a stack of donated clothes, her fists clenching around the fabric as exhaustion clawed at her bones after another double shift cleaning penthouses in Manhattan. Her cheek still pulsed from the slap, a faint bruise hidden under makeup, but she shoved the pain down, focusing on the toddler group in the community center where she volunteered evenings. Kids swarmed her legs, laughing as she knelt to tie a shoelace, her daughter's coos from the carrier on her back grounding her like an anchor. Mama's got you, she whispered, lips pressing tight to suppress the tremor in her voice, the viral video's backlash flooding her phone with threats and support alike. Elijah's missed calls stacked up. 10 now, his text urgent. Home soon, handling the airline mess. But Aisha powered through, wiping sweat from her brow, stacking shelves with formula cans for single moms like her muscles aching from scrubbing floors all day. "You're a rock," another volunteer said. But Aisha's eyes hardened, teeth biting her inner cheek. Rock or not, the slap replayed in her mind, fueling a fire she channeled into helping others. She scooped up a crying child, rocking him with the same rhythm she'd used on the flight, her heart hammering at memories of stares and slurs. "We don't break," she murmured to the boy, her spine steel despite the weight of judgment. Evenings blurred into nights here, Aisha trading Maid uniforms for volunteer aprons, her quiet strength drawing in women sharing stories of bias at work, their voices a chorus that mirrored her own scars. Elijah's world, boardrooms and jets, felt distant, but her text to him burned with resolve. "Not just us, fix the system." She set the child down, fists unclenching as she checked her phone again. Marcus's message blinking. "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Her jaw set firm, ready to turn pain into power. "You show up here acting sorry. Think your guilt erases the cheers you gave that slap?" Isha fired at Marcus the moment he stepped into the dimly lit community center kitchen. Her arms crossed tight, knuckles white against her sleeves as she blocked his path. Marcus halted, face flushing, his suit jacket suddenly feeling like armor in the wrong war. "I deserve that, every word. But hear me out. I've dug up dirt on Skyline, lawsuits buried deep." Aisha's eyes narrowed, teeth clamping down on her lip to hold back the surge of fury, but she stepped aside, gesturing to a rickety table stacked with flyers for anti-discrimination workshops. "Sit and don't waste my time." Marcus dropped into the chair, pulling out his phone, thumbs jabbing the screen to show leaked emails from airline staff. "Patterns, black passengers targeted, complaints silenced. Your case cracks it open." Aisha leaned in, her breath sharp, scanning the docs with a predator's focus, her daughter's babble from the next room cutting the tension like a reminder of the stakes. "You want an alliance? Fine, but on my terms. No media circus yet, and you fund legal for other victims first." Marcus nodded fast, fists unclenching. "Deal. I've got contacts." As they talked, Aisha's hand brushed an old envelope in her apron pocket. Elijah's handwriting scrawled across it, a forgotten note from years back hinting at company secrets buried for safety. Her fingers froze, pulse spiking as she pocketed it deeper, the words igniting a spark of deeper mystery. "One more condition," she added, voice steel. "We dig into why this happens, not just who." Marcus agreed, but as he left, that envelope burned in her mind, whispering of shadows larger than one flight. "Back off, or I'll bury you both in lawsuits deeper than your graves." Captain Harlan Reed barked into the phone, his voice gravelly and laced with venom as he slammed his fist on the oak desk in Skyline's headquarters, veins bulging in his neck like ropes ready to snap. Aisha froze mid-step in her apartment, the envelope from Elijah clutched in her hand, its contents spilling out, faded memos about silenced complaints from years back. Marcus, pacing beside her, snatched a page, eyes widening. "This name's Reed, chief pilot, buried black passenger reports to boost stock." Reed's call had come unbidden, traced from a leaked number in the docs, his breath ragged. "You think digging up old dirt scares me? That slap was protocol. Your kind always cries foul." Aisha's jaw locked, teeth grinding as fury ignited, but she hit the speaker, voice cutting sharply. "My kind? Say it plain, Captain. Black and broken your eyes." Reed laughed, harsh and guttural. "Exactly. Skyline thrives by weeding out troublemakers. One viral video won't topple us. We've crushed bigger." Marcus leaned in, fists balling, his own scars from corporate bias flaring. "We've got proof. Your signatures on cover-ups." Reed cut him off, snarling. "Proof? I'll have security on your doors by dawn. Drop it or lose everything." Aisha's fingers crushed the paper, pulse thundering as Reed's threat exposed the rot. A web of payoffs to victims, rigged investigations to shield profits, his thuggish grip on the airline's dark underbelly now bared. "We're coming for you," she hissed. But Reed hung up, his parting growl echoing. "Try it. See who falls first." The line went dead, leaving Aisha's breath ragged, the memos a map to war. "Reed's threats won't silence us. Rip these memos apart. Find the cracks." Aisha commanded Marcus, her fingers shredding the envelope's seal further, pages spilling onto the kitchen table like confessions from a grave, her breath hot and jagged as adrenaline surged through her veins. Marcus snatched a sheet, eyes scanning frantically, his knuckles whitening around the edges. Look, signatures from 2018. Read authorizing payoffs to black families after incidents. Hundreds of thousands hushed up. Aisha's jaw clamped shut, teeth aching from the grind, as she cross-referenced on her laptop, pulling up anonymous forums where ex-employees whispered about the CEO's shadow game. Elijah's name, buried in footnotes. He flagged these early, but they overrode him. Marcus dialed a contact, voice low and urgent. Jenna, former HR at Skyline, spill what you know. The line crackled, Jenna's whisper tense. Reed runs the cover-ups, but the real boss? Elijah Johnson, your husband Aisha? He's the silent CEO, built the airline from scratch, hid his identity to dodge bias in deals. Aisha's fist balled, nails digging into palms, the revelation slamming her like a fist. Elijah, her quiet partner, the millionaire pulling strings from afar. He never said, protected us from the spotlight. Marcus paced, phone in hand, digging deeper into leaked databases. Here's proof. Elijah's emails warning about discrimination, spikes in 2020, Reed dismissing them as PR noise. They buried a fatality, passenger collapsed after crew neglect, family paid off. Aisha's heart hammered, breath shallow, as she interviewed a victim via video call, the woman's face etched with scars. They slapped me too, called it protocol. Elijah tried intervening anonymously, but Reed blocked it. Marcus cross-checked flight logs, fingers flying. Patterns match, routes read captains, complaints spike 300%. Elijah's alias in board minds. EJ Holdings owns 60%. Aisha's eyes burned, suppressing a gasp, her body rigid as pieces locked in. Elijah's late nights, vague business trips, all veils for his empire. He hid to fight from inside, but Reed twisted it. They hacked a whistleblower site, passwords cracked from memo clues, uncovering audio clips of Reed's snarling orders. Bury the black complaints. Stock can't dip. Aisha's pulse thundered, fists unclenching only to grab more docs, the investigation snowballing into a storm. Elijah's the key, CEO in shadows, once betrayed by partners who stole his ideas. Marcus nodded, breath sharp. He rebuilt undercover, but Reed's cabal kept the rot alive. Aisha dialed Elijah, voice cracking steel. Truth now, no more hides. His answer is faint. Coming clean, Reed's endgame exposed. The probe deepened, victims' testimonies piling like ammunition. Aisha's resolve hardening to diamond, every clue stripping layers from the airline's facade. Reed betrayed you from day one, stole your blueprints and pinned the crash on a scapegoat. Jenna's voice exploded through the speaker, her words slicing the air in Aisha's kitchen like shards of glass. As the ex-HR rep's face filled the screen, eyes wild with unearthed fury. Aisha's fist slammed the table, knuckles splitting skin, blood trickling as the truth crashed down. Elijah's startup dreams shattered by partners like Reed, who rigged a 2015 flight mishap where crew ignored a black passenger's medical pleas, leading to his death mid-air. Marcus scrolled frantically, breath ragged, pulling up archived news clips buried under settlements. Here, autopsy report leaked. Heart attack ignored. Crew called it drama. Reed forged logs, blamed the victim. Aisha's chest heaved, teeth bared in a snarl, the betrayal igniting like gasoline on her scars. Elijah built Skyline from ashes, hid as CEO to reclaim it. But Reed's cabal kept poisoning the well, payoffs to hide deaths, all to spike shares. Jenna nodded fiercely, fingers jabbing at her own docs. Your husband confronted them anonymously, got sidelined. Reed threatened his family, your family, to stay silent. Aisha's nails gouged the wood, pulse roaring in her ears. The envelope's memos now a roadmap to hell. Elijah's warnings ignored, a passenger's widow silenced with cash, her suicide note hinting at coercion. He protected us by vanishing into shadows, But Reed turned it into an empire of lies. Dozens dead or ruined. Marcus's face drained, fists pounding his thigh. This isn't bias. It's murder cover-up. Profits over lives. Isha stood abruptly, chair scraping like a scream, her body vibrating with rage. Elijah, call now. Full truth. His voice answered hoarsely. Reed stole my life. Framed the crash on me indirectly. Time to end him. The revelation locked in, a chain of blood and deceit stretching back, fueling their assault on the core. But Reed's shadow loomed larger, hinting at strikes to come. You dig any deeper, and I'll snap your neck like that dead passenger's spine, Captain Reed roared, lunging across the dimly lit warehouse threshold where Aisha had tracked him, his massive hand clamping her throat in a vice grip that crushed her windpipe, stars exploding behind her eyes. Aisha's nails raked his arm, drawing blood, her knees buckling as oxygen fled. But she kneed his groin hard, eliciting a guttural yelp that loosened his hold just enough for her to gasp. Truth's out! You killed for profits! She choked, voice rasping like gravel, her fist pounding his chest as Marcus burst through the side door, tackling Reed from behind. Reed spun, elbow smashing Marcus's jaw with a crack that sent blood spraying, his breath hot and foul. Nosy bastards, Skyline's mine now. Elijah's weak, hiding like a coward. Aisha scrambled up, lungs burning, grabbing a loose pipe from the floor and swinging it wildly, connecting with Reed's shoulder in a thud that vibrated up her arms. He built it. You stole lives. Reed dodged the next swing, his boot kicking her ribs, pain lancing through her like fire, forcing her to double over, breath wheezing. Marcus rose, face bloodied, charging again, but Reed pulled a concealed knife, blade flashing as he slashed the air. Back off, or she bleeds first. Aisha's heart slammed against her cracked ribs, teeth bared in defiance, her body coiled despite the agony. Threats won't bury this. Widows know, families know. Reed laughed maniacally, advancing, knife point aimed at her chest. They signed NDAs. Cash shuts mouths. You? Permanent silence. Marcus grabbed a crate, hurling it at Reed's legs, toppling him momentarily, but Reed rolled up, slashing Marcus's arm, fabric ripping with a wet tear. Aisha's vision blurred from pain, fists trembling, but she lunged for his phone on the ground, dialing Elijah mid-scuffle. Help! Reed's here, knife! Reed stomped the device, screen shattering under his heel, his free hand yanking Aisha's hair, pulling her head back. No rescue. Ends now. Her scalp screamed, but she spat in his face, buying seconds as sirens wailed distant, the warehouse echoing their struggle like a tomb. Drop the knife, Reed. You're done bleeding secrets. Elijah's voice thundered from the warehouse shadows, his frame bursting into the fray like a storm, fist connecting with Reed's jaw in a bone-crunching hook that sent the captain sprawling, knife clattering across concrete. Aisha gasped air into her lungs, ribs screaming fire, but she scrambled toward the fallen blade, kicking it away as blood dripped from her split lip. Marcus clutched his slashed arm, fabric soaked crimson, his breath ragged pants, but he lunged to pin Reed's legs, grunting through pain. Elijah, how? Aisha rasped, her hands trembling as she helped Marcus restrain the thrashing captain, Reed's eyes bulging with rage, spittle flying. Tracked your call, knew Reed's trap. Elijah's muscles coiled tight, veins popping on his forearms as he zip-tied Reed's wrist with cables from a nearby shelf, his face a mask of controlled fury, honed from years in boardroom battles. No more hides. Evidence vaults here. His private stash. Reed bucked wild, headbutting Marcus's shoulder, eliciting a yelp, but Elijah stomped his chest down, boot heavy. You stole my company. Framed the crash. Passenger died because you ignored calls for help. Aisha's fists balled, nails cutting palms, as she rifled Reed's pockets, yanking out a USB drive and a burner phone, her pulse slamming like war drums. This? Recordings? Elijah nodded sharply, snatching the drive and plugging it into his concealed laptop, pulled from a bag. Vault codes from Jenna. Open it. Screen flickered to life, files unfolding. Videos of crew assaults, audio of Reed ordering cover-ups, spreadsheets tallying payoffs to grieving families. Marcus's eyes widened, his bloodied hand steadying the device. Jackpot, 2015 crash cam footage, crew laughing off the man's pleas, Reed deleting originals. Isha's breath hitched, teeth clamping to stifle a sob, the horror fueling her search deeper into the warehouse crates, prying one open with the pipe to reveal stacks of shredded docs, partially intact memos naming Elijah as the betrayed founder. He set you up, stole patents, pinned negligence. Elijah's jaw flexed, fists unclenching only to smash a crate lid, splinters flying. Built Skyline from nothing, black man rising, they couldn't stand it. Reed's betrayal cost lives. Reed snarled from the floor, twisting against the bonds. You'll rot for this, evidence faked. But Aisha silenced him with a glare, her body aching but resolve iron, photographing every file with her phone. Marcus bandaged his arm crudely, wincing, but hacked the burner for texts. More. Reed's orders to sabotage Elijah's deals. Elijah stood tall, breath steadying. Undeniable now, federal proof. Isha's heart raced, hands steady on the docks. The haul a weapon forged from pain, but Reed's defeated glare promised backlash. Cameras rolling. Your empire crumbles now, Reed? Isha shouted into the press conference mic, her voice slicing the packed room like a whip. Fingers slamming the USB drive onto the podium as projectors flared to life with damning footage. Reed's snarls in audio clips, crash logs forged, payoffs listed in cold spreadsheets. Reporters surged forward, flashes blinding, but Aisha stood unyielding, ribs taped under her blouse, breath steady despite the throb. Elijah flanked her, fist clenched at his side, eyes locked on the screen where Reed's face appeared in handcuffs via live feed from custody. He betrayed me, stole Skyline, covered murders for profit. Elijah boomed, his CEO facade shattered, the room erupting in gasps as widows in the front row stood, tears carving paths down their faces, one crying, "Justice, finally!" Marcus, arm bandaged, hit play on the final video. Reed's confession taped in the warehouse scuffle, his knife-wielding threats exposed raw. Admit it. You rigged the crash, silenced us. Aisha pressed, the crowd roaring approval, phones capturing every frame. Reed's lawyer leapt up. Fabricated. Cease this. But Elijah cut him off sharply. Feds have originals, indictments filed. Chaos exploded. Reporters yelling questions, stocks tanking on wall screens. Aisha's heart-pounding triumph as victims hugged her, their grips fierce. No more shadows, she declared, teeth bared in victory, the exposure ripping Reed's web apart. But as applause thundered, a federal agent's nod hinted at deeper reforms ahead. Guilty on all counts. Life without parole for you, Reed. The judge's gavel cracked like thunder in the federal courtroom, sealing Captain Harlan Reed's fate as handcuffs snapped around his wrists, his face twisting in a snarl of defeated rage, veins throbbing in his neck like dying snakes. Aisha stood rigid in the gallery, fists clenched so tight her nails drew blood. The bruise on her cheek long faded, but the fire in her eyes burned eternally. Elijah gripped her hand, his knuckles white, breath steady as Reed lunged against the bailiffs, spitting curses. You black thieves stole my airline. I'll appeal from hell. But the guards yanked him back, his boots scraping concrete, dragging him toward the door, where flash bulbs popped like gunfire from reporters outside. Karen Ellis, chained beside him, collapsed sobbing, her uniform stripped, face sallow under harsh lights. Please, mercy, I just followed orders. The judge cut her sharply. Assault, conspiracy, 10 years federal pen. Aisha's jaw locked, teeth grinding in satisfaction as victims, ROs cheering, widows embracing her with iron hugs, their tears soaking her shoulder. He killed my husband! Justice now! One wailed, fist pumping. Elijah stepped forward, voice booming. Skyline's rot ends. Feds seize assets, every cover-up unraveled. Prosecutors nodded, stacking docs, crash logs, payoffs, Reed's knife threats, all ironclad, no loopholes. Marcus, arms scarred but strong, testified earlier, his words slicing deep. I witnessed the bias, enabled it once, never again. Reed's appeals crumbled instantly, assets frozen, pensions gutted, his cabal scattering like rats. Execs indicted, flights grounded for audits. Aisha's chest heaved, suppressing a triumphant shout, her body vibrating with closure as the courtroom emptied, bailiffs hauling the defeated pair away. No more deaths hidden, she whispered to Elijah, her grip fierce. But as doors slammed shut on Reed's screams, a new dawn beckoned reforms. Every penny from Skyline's tainted profits, donated now to rebuild lives you shattered, Elijah declared at the foundation launch podium, his fist pounding the lectern with a thud that echoed through the crowded auditorium. Veins pulsing in his temples as he signed the massive check on stage, $10 million scripted in bold ink for the Anti-Discrimination Aviation Fund. Aisha stood beside him, her hand gripping his arm tight, knuckles pale, breath steady as flashbulbs popped and victims cheered, their faces alight with raw gratitude. This quenches the fire Reed lit. Training programs, legal aid for every silenced family, Elijah continued, voice gravelly with resolve, his suit jacket straining against shoulders, tensed from years of hidden battles. Marcus nodded from the front row, scar on his arm a badge now, rising to hand Elijah a stack of proposals. Corporate overhauls, bias audits mandatory, scholarships for black pilots. Elijah's jaw flexed, teeth clamping as he announced the next wave. My shares, half sold, proceeds to community centers like Aisha's, where strength starts. Aisha's chest swelled, suppressing a fierce smile, her fists unclenching to accept a plaque from a widow, the woman's hug crushing but healing. Your slap sparked this. Thank you for fighting, the widow whispered, tears hot on Aisha's neck. Elijah turned to the crowd, breath sharp. No more shadows. I step down as CEO, install a diverse board, root out every Reed clone. Reporters surge, questions flying like arrows, but Elijah cut through. Redemption isn't words, it's action. Fund covers therapy for crash survivors, jobs for fired whistleblowers. Isha spoke next, voice cutting steel. We turn pain to power, grants for maids like me, rising above slaps and slurs. Elijah's eyes met hers, grip tightening, as donors pledged matches, millions stacking like armor against future bias. Skyline rebrands, Equity Airways, crew vetted, passengers protected. Marcus added, fist pumping, my firm matches, legal clinics nationwide. The event pulsed with energy, victims sharing stories in circles, hugs fierce, Elijah's shoulders finally easing, breath deepening as he whispered to Aisha, our legacy, hope from hell. Funds flowed instantly, programs launching, lives mending under the banner of change. Watch this, baby. Your mama's world just got bigger. Aisha laughed fiercely, scooping her daughter into a spin under the community center's new banner, Johnson Equity Hub. Her arms strong despite old bruises, heart swelling as kids swarmed the renovated space filled with computers and books funded by Elijah's donations. Elijah knelt beside them, his hand ruffling the girl's curls, breath deep and free, no more shadows clouding his eyes. Family first, always, he murmured, pulling Aisha close, their foreheads touching in a grip that sealed years of hidden wars. Marcus strode in, fist bumping Elijah, his scarred arm flexing proudly. Boards diverse now, black CEOs leading, bias trainings mandatory. Victims turned allies crowded the room, sharing meals and stories, widows smiling through tears as grants hit their accounts, one hugging Aisha tight. You slap back for all of us. Dignity won. Aisha's chest tightened, suppressing joyful sobs, her fists unclenching to high-five a young maid starting pilot school on scholarships. No more slaps in silence. Rise loud. Elijah addressed the group, voice booming. Lesson etched. Strength in unity crushes chains. Bias falls when truth strikes. Kids cheered, drawing posters of planes with Equity Airways logos, families blending into a tapestry of resilience. Aisha whispered to her daughter, see? One stand sparks fires. Burn bright, never bend. Elijah nodded. breath sinking with hers. Our new family, built from ashes, unbreakable. Marcus added, grin sharp. Airlines reform nationwide. Feds mandate our model. Complaints public. No hides. The room pulsed with hugs, laughter echoing like victory drums. Aisha's resolve shining eternal. Power isn't wealth. It's refusing to break, lifting others. Elijah kissed her forehead, grip firm. Legacy lives, hope eternal. As the sun set on the hub, families departed empowered. Aisha's family at the core, a beacon for generations. Dignity demands action. Fight, forgive, forge ahead. The lesson rooted deep. Prejudice crumbles under persistent truth. Communities thrive on shared strength. Every slap a seed for revolution. In the end, this story reminds us that true power lies in quiet resilience against injustice, where one act of courage can dismantle systems of prejudice and spark lasting change for all. Have you ever faced discrimination while traveling or standing up for what's right? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Your voice could inspire the next wave of hope. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.